So, after a whole lot of pondering how I was going to do this, and I was going to pull the other truck up with this truck so I could hook it up. But then I got to thinking about it. Then that means I got to do all the work I got to do to this with that dangling. Got to get that done. So, anyways, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and take this truck apart. That way I can get everything done that I need done. Then when I pick the other cab up, I can just roll this one under. So, take this one apart. I may end up cutting it up in pieces. I don't know. I'm going to strip everything down and see if I can manage to pick the body up off of it, what's left of the body. If not, I'll cut the front end off, cut the wheel wells here, take them off, cut the firewall, take that off, because I'm going to use the floor pans in a different project anyway. So, if I have to cut it up, no big deal. But we're going to start by taking the hood off. Give us a little more light for one thing. Now typically, if you're removing a hood, it's a good idea to have a partner, a helper. If you're going to remove a hood on a truck by yourself, and it's a complete truck with a good windshield, take and put you a thick book behind the hood. That way if it slips, it'll hit that book and not your windshield. See, like so. I have no windshield, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay. Now they will usually kind of sit there on the prop, but you do have to be careful because they can kick around and fly at you. And those hinges are rather stiff. So of course, I'm running out of room in here, and I can't get out there, so I'm going to have to just sit this down. Need it over here somewhere. Okay. Oh yeah, now I can see much better. Alright. We're going to have to do the same thing to this one we done to the other one. Get all the brake lines loose from the firewall. Get the wiring loose. I can take this little box loose and lay it over like I did on the other one. So I guess let's start by taking the battery out, get it out of the way. We're not going to be running her anymore until it's got the new cab on it, I don't guess. The good thing is it should be easy to roll it back under there. Well, I say easy, but there's going to be one issue is the fact that I won't have any brakes. It's going to want to kind of like shoot off. And so, don't quite know what I'm going to do about that yet, but we'll figure that out. Perhaps I can leave, maybe I can take the e-brake and hook it back to the handles without the cab. That'd be funny. No brakes, no cab. Anyway, enough jabbering. Let's get your shit done, right? Alright. Okay, so get this battery on back. We got our battery out of the way. So now we need to, so this is somebody's added wiring for something. That don't have nothing to do with what we're doing here. Now we got to get this stuff here loose. Alright, this is a tube for the washer. The washer's already been removed. This one's been hit in this corner, so you know there's been some work done here before. So we got this little plastic zip tie like thing. Okay, we want to take that off, separate our wires. There's our ground. So the great thing here is you have a master plug. Well, you actually have 2 or 3 here. so we just unplugged these. If I can figure that one out. I think I need a screwdriver. So maybe we can just push them. And push them out there. Alright, it's started. We have a lock on this side too. No. That should come out now. Unplug that. Now this one is a round plug, so it just unplugs. Now this one, so this is your engine harness. This one has a notch in it, so you have to line that notch up when you plug it back up. Okay. Now I just plugged that back up, and I need to unplug these two, or unbolt that, or unplug that maybe. I think that unplugs. Yep. Okay. So that needs to be cleaned anyways, because that's your main power going to your wiring harness. So we've got our wiring harness here. And our ground is attached to the engine and to the body, so that needs to come loose. It's a 10mm. So we'll take that. Loose right there. And that takes our ground loose from the body. Now we can lay it over here on the engine. Now if I do go to Sawzall on anything, I'll have to cover this carburetor up because I don't want to get metal shavings down in the engine. Alright, I don't know how well I showed this before, but you got to pop these little dudes out. And basically, you can kind of just like take and pry them out, I think. Yeah. They'll just pretty much pop out. Some of them have a lock. That one comes out. That one. Okay. And then they'll just pop right back in there too. So if you try to take the whole bracket off and keep them all together, that's another story. For the gas tank vent, and it's still connected, so we want to keep it loose. We need to drain that coolant, so I can take these heater hoses loose right here. Alright, got the coolant drained, so now we'll take these hoses loose here. Alright, so I like to take these things completely, back them off, and take the bolt and all off. You want to try and keep up with your washer if you're going to try and reuse those. Turned the wrong way, so we'll take it off the other side on this one. Uh-oh, I took that one completely out. Oh, there's my washer. Alright, so the reason I'll take those completely out is you can then squeeze your hose clamp and move it kind of more out of the way. Now I have a releasable zip tie down here, so we're going to take that loose. So now that we've got him clamp off, we'll take this little pick and work under there like so, and then we'll take and pull that up a little bit, take our well, now I got to get him back in there. Alright, we'll pull that up a little bit, and take our straw of our PB and spray him just a little bit, and try and work that around a little bit. Now, I should be able to pull them loose. Like that. Hasn't been off since 1982, so. Alright. Now this other one, we just do the same thing with it. Okay. I'm going to take the clamp towards the other side. Oh, no. See now. And that clamp was a little easier. Do the same thing here. Put on there. Pull them out as much as we can and put a little dab of stuff in there. And work it around. And come on now. Ah, yuck. Okay, well that's got that loose. And I just realized I needed to take both of those loose on the firewall side because, well, they've got to go back through that grommet, so I need to take this other one loose. And get that clamp off. Okay, now I can take that heater box loose. We're going to take this loose. Now I find it kind of odd. I'm more used to working on the older trucks with the L series. And the way they've got this booster line ran seems a little weird. So on the other trucks, usually your booster's closer and it runs back here attached to the firewall. This one drops down here and is just hanging just right above the exhaust manifold. Okay, I see now. So this bracket, this is actually supposed to be mounted right there, and it's been ripped out. So that's why that, okay. I thought that shouldn't be hanging down there like that. It'll work better than vice grip. So, we'll squeezy and see, yeah, that actually does work better. Now, we're going to try this without the lube trick because that's upside down and going to be hard to get in there. So we're just going to take the pliers and grab and twist. Okay, it's not completely stuck on there. So now we'll twist and pull. Of course, now this is a vacuum line. And see, this is nice and clean and this is dry, so that came off fairly easy. The other lines I was working on, of course, were coolant lines. So you got more potential for corrosion. The antifreeze itself kind of seems to get sticky and makes things not want to come apart. So let's see. You want to take this loose just to get it out of the way. That is our coolant catch can. It has a little bracket on the bottom that you gotta slide out some way. Or, you know what? I'll take that off too. No big deal. There we go. We'll just roll them out of there. So that's what that would have looked like brand new. And so it has faded some. Ew. Ooh, it pushed out some of that. I'm assuming that's some of that vinegar water. It's brown. So we got to flush this coolant system a couple times. I think I already mentioned that. Alright, another one of these releasable zip ties here. I wish I knew where I could get some of those. Releasable zip tie with a bracket. Well, that one's broke now. 40 years old. Alright, now that's got that loose. We will need to pull the radiator, so I'm going to have to take the hoses loose on that. And I'm probably going to pull this wiring harness completely loose. Yeah, right now we're going to work on that. So we got our ignition junction here. I'll show y'all something about these real quick. These are set up to, well, I can get him popped open. See, it's hinged on that side. These things often get the lid broken off. Okay. So these have your wires going to your distributor. Now, this will need to be put back, of course. The thing about these is, these are all 310 millimeter, but they're 3 different size studs. Therefore, they're idiot proof because they're not color coded. Well, actually these are. Sometimes they're not though. But your blue, red, and then black with white on this one. So, not only are they color coded, like I said, they're idiot proof because they'll only fit on the correct studs. And I dropped one of the washers. So you want to take this loose from, we'll take it loose from the engine side for now. And then we want to throw our nuts back on there so we can keep up with them. Like I say, I done lost one washer. Start those back. And it went down somewhere, I don't know. Okay, so that's got that loose. So we'll take this and put over here. Now, okay, so here's where we're going to have to take loose. Alright, the orange one is the front one here. We're going to have to take loose these ignition wires off the coils. Pull the cover off the coils because we're going to have to take the wires loose from the coils themselves on this one, because the other one I left them attached, which I'll probably end up swapping out and using these because these are much fresher. But for the fact that we're leaving our wiring harness with the body, we're going to have to disconnect all of these. But now I do need to take note of how they are. So what I'm going to do is take a picture of them, and that way I'll have that for reference of the coloring. Come on, camera. Because they are set up one to fire before the other, from what I know. Which, you know, it's the only way this whole system makes sense. It has vacuum lines and stuff hooked to that, so we really don't want to take that loose from the engine. Alright, we've got wires loose from that, and then this one is got this one line attached, but that's the one that goes here, and we actually want to pull that loose from the firewall, where we mostly had it loose. like that. But that's going to be a little bit of an issue there. Okay. But for now, we're just going to unbolt the master cylinder. And then that way I can pop these other lines loose. I tend to do better one at a time for some reason. Pop those loose there. And here. Like that. Now we can take our master cylinder, slide it forward. And we're going to have to get this other little bracket loose from the fender down here, like we did on the other one. Oh, there's actually a little spacer goes under that. So that's got that loose. Now we'll take the brake master cylinder and duck him down. Right down in here beside the distributor. We'll have to take my steering column loose. Probably need to go ahead and do that. I'll reach in from underneath probably to do that, because getting them from up here is a little bit of a trick. I'm also going to take the booster off, because I'll probably use this booster. Now that bracket I took loose on the other one from underneath also attaches to the booster, so I have to take those two nuts from underneath loose there in order to turn that loose. This booster is bigger than the one on the other truck and looks to be in better condition, so we're going to plan on using it. And then I got to get the clutch master cylinder loose as well, and take its line and pull it over around out of the way. And then I'm going to gut everything off of this piece of cab. Okay, so I have decided to remove the wiring harness because it's already pretty much loose. We got one plug here. It's coming down. Plugged on the distributor there. Seems to be an extra ground. Alright, we got a little plastic thing here. We just rip that out. And this next one. Alright. Since this was already pretty much loose, figure I might as well just pull it out and get it out of the way. So you got your ignition wires I was showing you earlier. That one went to the distributor. There's a headlight plug. Park light and turn signals. The other headlight. Come on around. On this side you got your other headlights, your other park lights, your main wires going to the battery. I showed you all those. The one going to the engine harness, these main plugs. This one goes to the washer. I forget what that one goes to. Wiper. So that's everything loose except for this one of these little plastic things. And we'll take and pop him. That's everything loose. Now, GM uses a master plug on their firewall. Nissan did not. Their wiring harness is in one piece. So, in order to get it out, you got to feed everything back through this hole, which is easier since I got easy access right here. So you just feed the entire thing, and pull those little ones through as you get to them. Let me make sure y'all can see what the hell I'm doing. In fact, yeah, let's concentrate right there. Now when you, of course, got a complete cab, it helps to have someone on the inside. I've done this by myself though. But it's a whole lot easier when I can reach right around here and get the other side of that. So even if I was going to use this whole floor pan front end, say the entire piece, and graft onto the other cab, I'd still have to remove this wiring harness because it's an 82 and the truck I'm going to use it on is an 80 model. So there's some differences, especially when it comes to the ignition. So I've got these aftermarket wires that are tied up in it there for a second. Had to back up a little. But I'm just keep feeding through that hole. Oh, that piece. Well, it'll go through there too, looks like. Yep. Well, maybe. Its ears is catching. Yep. Got all the way down to that piece. It's alright. We'll just take these three little nuts off again. And that will come right off. We'll keep this box because it's in better shape. Because like I say, these little lids always get broke off and usually black tape back in place. There we go. Now, pull that off, and there we go. Now I'll show y'all here in a minute, freeing up the inside part. It's pretty simple too. I don't know if y'all find this useful or not. Depends on if you're going to change the wiring harness for whatever reason. I find myself doing that quite often on these trucks. It's a very simple wiring harness. So, for instance, when I was going to put an L series and an 84, which still didn't work out, but rather than trying to graft and make the ignition work, I just swapped out the whole harness. And then when I ended up ultimately putting the Z24 back in it, I swapped it out again. So, yeah, I've kind of got some practice with that. Anyway, got to get the rest of the stuff loose on the inside, so we'll jump back there. Okay, we want to start with finish removal of the heater box. So we've got a nut. Let's see. There. That's what? No, that's the throttle control. Oh, I've already got that off. Matter of fact, I think I had. Yeah, I've got both of those off, so I think the only thing left holding is one in the top. You got one here, one over there, and then one in the top. The only reason I didn't finish that before is because I had to get the heater hoses unhooked. So now that we've got that, we should be able to pull this right out, pulling the heater hoses through the firewall. There we go. And that gets our heater box completely loose and out of the way. Okay. Now, not completely necessary, but I am going to remove the e-brake just to get it out of the way. I already had the cable off, and then it has a wire next to it that has your little brake indicator light. Now, on these, in order to get that cable out, I was saying something about this earlier. You pull it out, and I took my little locking pliers, pinched the cable, and then when you push it back, that lets the little barrel end come out. Okay, now on removing this wiring harness, there is a couple of things. One thing is your gas pedal. It's easier to remove it than it is to try to wrestle around it. Also, I need to disconnect that. So what we do there, this little, let me see. I got y'all zoomed in. Make sure y'all still see what the heck I'm doing. I forgot I had you zoomed in so much. Well, actually, let's zoom on in to what I am doing right now. So you have this little plastic thing up here that you got to pop it out, the little ring, and then that lets the throttle cable loose. Now we've got 2 bolts on the front side to take that loose, because that's got to stay with the truck. So that definitely had to come loose anyway for what I'm doing. Now, all right, we want to unplug our ignition, and our wire's going to, let me back y'all off again. So right here, our wire's going to, and these are a little dry rotted from this thing being apart so long. So this is your harness for wipers, horn, lights, signals, and this blue one here is the one that goes to the ignition switch. Okay, now there's normally another bracket that goes like right here somewhere on some of these models. This one didn't have it. It don't appear, or it's been removed. I know there's usually another brace that's in the way of the wiring harness that you got to take out. This one doesn't have it. So, at that, to get our wiring harness out, let me get them tied over here because I've had the fuse block tied off so that it wasn't flopping around in the way of my clutch the other day. Untie it there. We have 2 wires going to the clutch safety switch. We've got some little clampy things on the chassis here. We've got our 2 flashers. You just pop them out of the little plastic bracket that holds them. And you got your 2 brake line or brake light wires on the other switch, on the brake light switch. There's 1. There's 2. Alright, so that takes all of this. Another little bracket here. Pull that around there. Now, back in here there's some more little clamp thingies. And some sort of relay thing here. A couple of relay things that I'm not 100% what they do, but the easiest way to do those so that you can keep up with them for me is to just take them off of the body. Whatever they are, they're still with you. Okay, this one is a wiper relay, so that is for the intermittent wipers. Been trying to figure out if I can take and add one of these to my other truck and make the intermittent wipers work, because it didn't come with them. Anyway, I'll tug it. And we give that a tug, comes out of that, and that one there, and there we go. Our complete wiring harness. There's one more thing I got to take loose, and that's the master plug under the seat that goes to the rear harness. So they do separate the rear harness from the front, and the rear harness on this truck has your fuel pump wiring your fuel gauge wiring, and your tail lights. So we'll take this and roll it over there, and I'll get that loose and out of here in a minute. Right now I want to finish stripping this down, which consists of our steering column, which I ain't took loose yet on the front. Alright. So I'm jumping back and forth a bit, but I'll take that loose on the front, which there's 2 bolts in the rag joint. I'll take them out, and that should turn this loose, and we'll get our column off. Supposed to be 2. Alright. Now we'll give her a little yankee doodle here. I think there may be one more bolt there. Yep. I was thinking there was 5, but I didn't see that top one because it was covered with that little piece of insulation. Come on now. There we go. Alright, now, put the gas pedal out of the way. This will be a little easier. Alright, hung up on the other side. Hung on the motor mount. Now, with this being like this, I can reach right across where the windshield's supposed to go and, you know, for the steering shaft and feed it through. Alright. Got that off. Just a little bit. Kind of, sort of, not really. So, there's a hairpin clip. Pull that out. And then the pin for the clutch pedal. Push your pedal slightly to take the pressure off, or wiggle it, whatever you gotta do. That one's not wanting to come out easy, which is weird since it's no rust on it. Well, I'm glad I got easy access because that one's being a pain. There's a little hole in there that you gotta feed that out through. Oh, that one's being so stubborn. It usually slides right out. Probably lack of wear. Nah, a little bit of rust on it. Okay. So now, the little hairpin clip, I'm going to stick back on here, which I usually do this. It's very easy to lose. That way you keep up with it. Alright, now we got the same thing on the... Yeah, everything else loose. So I'm going to take the 4 bolt that holds the brake and master cylinder. So I can get the other bolt for the clutch master cylinder because I haven't broken it yet. This is where that wobble extension does come in handy. Alright, now. That got our brake booster loose. So that was these 4 bolts, and then there was them 2 going down through the fender well. Of course, I done took the master off. Alright, now, that gives me access to the other bolt on the slave cylinder. Clutch master cylinder. Which this one is good, so I'm going to leave it connected because the clutch works and all that good stuff, and I don't want to have to bleed it. Okay, got that loose. Now, so you got 2 nuts on the front side holding your clutch master cylinder, 4 bolts for the booster. Alright, jump back up front here, because everything is gone back there. So we want to take these radiator hoses loose. Now with these, I'm not going to take those clamps all the way down because I don't think it'll be necessary. We'll see. I have had these hoses off because the radiator was out when I got it. Now typically on these trucks, it's easier to pull your radiator hoses off the engine and leave them with the radiator. So that's what I'm doing here. Alright, that's loose. Now we gotta zip our 2 bolts out. And of course there should be 4 bolts, but like I said, I'll put this radiator in there just to be able to run the truck what I've done. And so I only stuck 2 bolts in it because I figured I was going to end up taking it back apart. So here we are, taking it back apart. And you don't typically need that long bolt, but I guess that's just what was handy. Now this is an aftermarket radiator. Your factory radiator has these little hooks where you could just, there's a hole, you just hang it in there until you can get your bolts in. These don't have that, which makes them a little aggravating to install. But okay, and another thing, I'll show y'all real quick. Most aftermarket radiators these days, regardless of what you buy them for, have the cooler in there for an automatic transmission. Now, as you can see, these are plugged off and they've been used. The reason they do that is that way they don't have to have 2 different radiators. They just make the one for the automatic and it works for either one. You just plug them off, you're not using them. So, I always kind of wondered why they did this, but I guess it's a safety strap. So, yeah, I went to pick up on the back and I'm like, wait, what's catching me? And then I remembered, oh yeah. Now, if I could take the shifter off of the transfer case would be nice, but I'm going to try and get by without having to do that. Because that's something I've never really had any success getting loose. So, anyway. Okay, so I've decided that the best thing to do is see my little line, is to cut it right there. Because when I pick up on the front end, it flexes. So it's going to be hard to pick up the whole thing. It's not so much weight-wise as bulk. So if I cut it right there, then I should be able to handle the floor pan and the front clip separately. And this is what I need. I need the floor pan. Oh, hey, check it out. I need the floor pan right there in order to put in the truck that's going in. So we're going to get the cutting. I did want to remove the pedals, but like I said, they're kind of held again, so There we go. Yeah. Sort of missed the line there. There we go. If we can bring this bracket up out of the way, maybe. Technically, I should be able to go under it, but I want to get as much good metal as I can so that I can try to get rid of all of my rust in the oven. There we go. Yeah. Oh. Now I got to come back and make one more cut on your side. So what I'm doing, I'm going to use this floor pan in the black truck. I was going to try to take the whole thing off in one piece, but when I'd go to pick up on the front, it was just like flexing. So I figured it was going to be too hard to try to handle this way, so I'm cutting it into two pieces, and I should be able to handle it then. Okay. I had to borrow your fine. Oh, alright. Well, don't run off. I'm going to need a little help here. Yeah. I finally found that I had another piece out there. I had to change the thermostat housing off the original end. Yeah. Because the line came out wrong. Now you ought to be loose. Now I need to move all the crap. And probably resituate this. Alright, we may have to come forward a little bit. I got to kind of work around this. And try to get this stuff out of there. Alright, something's still holding it. Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I got a speed umber cable and that's one of those releasable zip ties. Alright, let me sit back down. said a while ago, you gotta take that throttle cable loose.
And then did.
Yeah, then forgot about it. Okay, the throttle cable and speedometer cable.
Right.
Now that ground's broken, so now we should be loose. So we're gonna take this and set it back there for right now.
There.
Alright, hold on, let's go home with something on here.
I got wires right here.
Them ain't holding nothing. But I got something. I'm a dead blame. Oh no, I got a little piece of metal still holding over here. Shit. And I unhooked the damn grinder. Hold on. Now it's loose. Now I'm gonna have to make enough room to get that out the door, I guess. And once you get that out of the way and get to where we can get out the door, the floor pan should be easy. Alright.
And
Okay.
watch out, stay. Yeah, we got a lady down.
Yeah.
The pole something pretty sharp.
Yeah. Alright. Oh, we still attached to something there. What is it, bracket for the e-brake cable? Apparently.
Probably.
Alright. You might have to sing back forward a little bit before I can get to it.
Sit up on there. He sit on there. You shoot. I'll hold this side it. See what that.
Yeah, it's a little plastic thing with a screw in it, I believe. Well, okay. Alright, now it should be loose.
Evidently it is.
Alright, let it jump down on the back end. I should be able to get a hold of that seat bracket. Okay. Well, the pressure washer the other day, but it's kind of hard to get up on top of the frame with the pressure washer with the cab on there. So now we'll commence the cleaning some more. So we're going to zip these mounts off so we can clean everything up a little better and easier. So those have those studs and a couple nuts that just holds the mount in place. Your actual big bolt going down through holds the whole thing. You got another donut on the bottom. Yeah, that's warm. More dirt under there, so that's why I wanted to take those off and clean it. Quick look here at the frame. We got her all cleaned up, coated. Everything I could get to. So we're gonna call that good. I'll call that enough for now because it smells really bad in here.